Nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.
Thank you for being here today. So, for those of you who are joining us live or are going to listen to this podcast later on, I am Gal, one of the co-founders of Smoozitive, and we have this real expat talk that we're hosting here, where we talk with women from all over the world, and we're super excited to just get to know them, their expat journey, what is it they're doing, how things are going on. So, I'm super excited to have our guest today, and please present yourself for everyone.
I'm so excited to be with you today, Gal. It's
Thank
wonderful
you.
to meet you. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Marjie Hadad. I am originally from the United States, and in January of 1995, I decided to go on an adventure and move to Israel.
Ah,
And I can tell you, fast forward, I'm still on that adventure today. 3 kids, happily married to the greatest guy in the world, a nice little dog, a house, working, and every day is a new adventure in the land of Israel.
I am definitely sure of that. For those of you who don't know, I am originally from Israel, born there, grew up there part of my life, currently living in France. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I guess we should say bonjour to you today.
Merci. So, so you moved to Israel on 1995 on your own?
Yes, yes, young, single, ambitious, ready to take on the world, try new things, meet new people, have new experiences. I think that's one of the benefits to moving to another country that you're not from. It's a real exploration of culture and different types of people, different ways of seeing things, different way of looking at things, also cuisine, different types of foods, different types of transportation. I mean, everything's kind of different. It's not, some of the things are universal, like getting up and going to work every day, or once you become a parent, getting the kids, ready for school, getting them to school on time, making sure everything's in order, that they do their homework, et cetera, et cetera. Other things are not the same. For example, in America or the United States, Canada, what have you, you speak in English, or I guess in some parts of Canada, you speak French.
Yeah.
In Israel, they speak Hebrew, they speak Arabic. They also speak English, but mostly Hebrew and Arabic, I'd
Yeah.
say. So, language, learning a new language is one of the exciting things. When I got here, I really hardly knew any Hebrew. I went to Hebrew school, granted. So I knew
Yeah.
how to read the letters and that kind of a thing. But I didn't know what I was reading. Never learned any vocabulary for the most part. So when I moved here, I was fresh. I was Kita Aleph Ulpan Hebrew school, the Hebrew language school here. And to this day, I still speak Hebrew with a very thick American accent, which I guess is the good and the bad news all at the same time. But primarily, my kids grew up in an English language household, and my husband is native Israeli, so they spoke Hebrew with him, and they spoke Hebrew outside of the house. So they're actually multilingual,
Yeah.
multicultural, dual citizens of the world, and they can flip back and forth. So again, another advantage to moving abroad is that as a parent, you can expose your children naturally to all these different types of things. So they grow up with multiple advantages. Now, in terms of language, Gal, you probably
Yeah.
know this too because you lived in multiple countries, that the good news is you learn multiple languages. The bad news is it takes you longer to excel at those languages because the process is a little bit, it's different and it's slower. But once you get those languages, then wow.
But it's I'm speaking three languages. True, I guess like I don't speak English like an American, and I don't speak French like a French person, and maybe I don't even speak Hebrew like an Israeli. But I am mastering three languages, and for me now to think of learning a fourth language, well, why not? Like it's possible. It's very natural to me. I don't think of it as something I'm afraid of. Or so yeah, I really think being a kid that moved around quite a lot thanks to my parents, I really think as the best gift they could have given me, because they opened me up to different cultures, to different languages, to change, to be open. So yeah, I definitely love that.
I think that when you're exposed and educated in a way to celebrate the similarities as well as the differences,
And the differences, yeah.
then your world becomes fuller, you're
I
more
agree.
tolerant, you're more respectful of others, and you're also proud of what you bring to the table because everybody has their own skill sets and talents. So enjoy and be proud of what you bring, but also celebrate what the others at the table bring as well. And I can tell you, when it comes to food, like when we have guests from abroad and they help with the cooking, dinner is always that much more exciting.
Of course, because you have a mix of everything, right? And then it makes it more interesting and more, yeah, open to the world. Like there's no one
Open
way
to the
or
world.
another.
No, and I would like to actually emphasize that point. You made a very, very important point here. It's not better or worse. It's only different. Assuming that it's peaceful interaction, never better or worse, just different, and we can enjoy and celebrate all of it.
Exactly. And you know, there are subjects in today's world that we don't feel like talking about that are more complicated. And I know that in the way that I was educated, being open to different thing and differences and accepting that not everyone will think the way you think and not everyone grew up the way you grew up and not everyone has the same cultures. Well, this allowed me to go into every single conversation being open to, let's hear what you have to say that is different than mine. It doesn't make it better or worse. We're just different. And it's great. I love learning about everything in life from different people's perspective. And I think it makes us, we talk about citizens of the world, but I think it makes us people that are more accepting and welcoming of differences. And because we know that there is not one way or another to do things. We come from one place where we grew up in a certain way and we moved and we discovered different cultures and we embraced what we liked. We become a person that is more a mix of a lot of different things and not specifically one thing that we should be because we are from one place or another.
Agreed. Now, what I also find that's interesting is yes, you can take your passport and go to another country to live, and that's well and good. Now, once you're in that country and you bring up your children, for the parents out there in
Yeah.
the audience,
Yeah.
to them, that's home. So they haven't gone abroad yet, or maybe they will eventually. But in the meantime, the question is how do you share the same experiences without a passport, without getting on an airplane?
Yeah.
And I think the answer to that, when you're a person who's been to multiple countries or came from another country and you're in another country or wherever you are, even if you've never been abroad before,
Yeah.
you can invite people to your home that you know from work who come from another country. You can go to a sports event and see people playing from other countries. You can go to somebody's party who is celebrating an event of some sort, and their background is different from your background. So you can go and enjoy the delicacies and the cultural significances of their background, whether pick your country, it really doesn't matter. But being able to join in and experience through the eyes of somebody else is a great way to expand your viewpoint without leaving the country, because that country might be where you've moved to, but for your kids, heck, that's still home. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have 3 kids, right? And they're all living in Israel.
No.
No.
No. I
So
have 3 kids.
they followed
That's
your path
true.
and they started to move.
Okay, so I do have 3 kids. I have a 25-year-old, a 22-year-old, and a soon-to-be 18-year-old. The 22-year-old recently moved abroad to the Czech Republic, and spoiler alert, she is going to medical school, and we're very
Amazing.
proud of her. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Congratulations.
So all the things that I experienced as a new person to Israel back in 95, my daughter is having her own experiences in the Czech Republic. And she's in an international program where she's studying with other students from all around the world and having
Amazing.
an absolutely wonderful time. Look, she's studying. She's there to study. And that kid is studying all the time and doing her thing, and we couldn't be prouder. But she's also experiencing her environment, and that's thrilling as well.
Oh, that's
And the
amazing.
other two, they're really great. They're doing their thing. My son's at the end of university and working, and my little one, not so little anymore, is going to be graduating high school and going into the military next year. And they have all had their share of plane rides and visits to exotic places all over the world. So we've done the best that we could, frankly, to expose them to lots of different cultures and different experiences and different locations and different types of people so that they can slip into any kind of situation naturally, feel comfortable with themselves and with the people around them.
That's beautiful. And I think because you gave them this, as you said, like openness to the world, even though they grew up only in Israel, but you showed them the possibility. Well, then you have your daughter that is not afraid of saying, listen, I want to go study and I'm going to the Czech Republic to do that. Because it's not like something that is impossible to do. If you've done it before, like she can do it now. And your other two kids, like they're in Israel, but the life, you don't know where life will gonna take them in the future. So I think it's
Correct.
really about how you approach it.
It's exactly, you know what, in public relations, you want to be prepared and you want to have expectations about what is about to happen.
Yeah.
We do that before an interview, we do it before a presentation, we prep our clients. So we do the same with their kids. We prep our kids. We let them know what to expect. And then they have the experience. So then when they do it again, it gets easier and easier and easier. And my kids have been traveling since the early days. I mean, my son was on an airplane at 2 weeks old.
That's the way you do it. So you mentioned PR, and I think it's a great moment to share that you have an amazing book about parenting and using PR techniques to your parenting. Do you want to tell us a bit about this?
Well, thank you for asking, Gull. The book is called The Power of PR Parenting: How to Raise Confident, Resilient, and Successful Children Using Public Relations Strategies. The publisher is Muse Literary out of Chicago, and it will be available on April 4th, 2023.
Wow, this is exciting. It's coming up soon.
Thank you. And it will be available worldwide. Easiest, frankly, to get it on Amazon. And it will be available in soft cover, paperback and hardcover. And there'll be an ebook for the Kindle users out there. I know that we're Kindle family. My kids actually have a reading habit. They voracious readers. To a point where we cannot fit another piece of paper into the library. So I finally said, that's it, we're getting a Kindle and go for it. Because how do you say no when your child says, Mom, can I have another book?
You can't say no to it.
No, you really can't.
I actually started because I'm not a good reader. Like, honest moment here, never worked for me. But I became an audio listener. So like I'm listening to books. I'm downloading them on Kindle and I just listen to the audiobook and everything. And this way I can go through different books.
Well, the good news is there will be an audio book in the future. I
I mean,
can't tell you the timing, but it will be there.
I'm sure it will be. And for those of you listening to us, I will put the details so you can go and check it out as well and see that when it's coming out. But yeah, I think you're bringing if I understand right, you're bringing your knowledge from PR, and this is like, if I understand right, your career into your parenthood.
Yes, I decided to write this book as a response to a conversation I had with the medical student, We were sitting on the couch and she said, Mom, I have a friend who recently got married, and she's concerned that she will not be able to balance parenthood with her career pursuits, her educational pursuits and her career pursuits. And she looked at her friend and she says, what are you talking about? My mother's been doing this for 25 years. Mom, that's what you should do. You should write a book to help the next generation of working moms based on your experience and expertise to find that balance and to help answer those questions. How on earth do I handle that? Because as parents, we all face the same challenges. The question is, how do we handle it? And when I look back, when my daughter says, you made mistakes, but overall you got it right, I thought, well, what did I do right exactly? What did I do? And it dawned on me, it's interesting because it hit me like a ton of bricks that I had used my professional skills to parent and raise my kids. And I think that each one of us has unique skills and wonderful talents that you don't need to leave at the job, that you can use to your own benefit to help raise your kids to be the best that they can be. Now, what's nice about public relations, Gal, is that it's a common denominator for an awful lot of professions out there.
Yeah.
And with this book, if you don't know anything about PR, you're going to be opened up to a whole new world. If you do know about PR, then here's a whole new way to look at things and use your existing skills to apply to parenthood, from crisis management to how to instill confidence, to resilience, meaning, if you fall off the horse, how do you get back on? How do you enjoy the yeses, but also the nos, with grace and dignity? How do you prepare for danger? How do you prepare for anything? All these things that we do in public relations, we can apply to teaching our kids to be the best that they can be and to have success, however you define success. I mean, success could be getting great grades. Success could be scoring well in your athletic game. Or success could be, we didn't burn the toast this morning. I mean, it comes on all sorts of levels, and it's whatever it means to you. And this book is intended to help each person, whatever their situation is, because everybody's situation is unique. This is not a cookie cutter kind of thing. It's very, very tailored to figure out, with public relations strategies, principles, practices, tactics, how to address these things in your own life so that you can have the answers to these questions and a real action plan to go out there and know what to try to do next. It worked for me. I really hope it works for the readers out there, because at the end of the day, this is about helping the next generation of moms. And if I can, I'd like to.
Yeah, and I love it. I think it's a great vocation, like something that you want to do and inspire others. But I love the fact that you mentioned that we should use what we know, like whether it's from our career or other areas of our life, and put it into parenthood. Like, I know I don't have kids yet, but I see it on my sister and how she's putting into place everything that we do here on our business and everything that is related to positive psychology and mindfulness and approaching things in a way that serves you better, how she's applying it to her motherhood as well. So I love the fact that you said, like, tap into what you already got. Like, if you are from PR, then definitely you can use it. But if you are not, then you can learn about PR through your book. And you can use those business strategies, those career knowledge that you have, wherever subject it is, and bring it to other areas of your life because it's part of who you are.
So you just said a couple of important things. First of all, I want to state very clearly, I'm not a psychologist and I'm not a parenting expert. Okay, I've made tons of mistakes. I'm still making them, hopefully new ones, but I'm still making them. It's part of life. We're all human. What I am is a PR pro. And in the book, I teach what worked for me, what didn't work for me. So whoever's reading this can benefit from my successes, but also my hiccups and avoid the same, potholes. Okay. Now, the other important thing that you said was that you're not a parent yet. Emphasize on the yet. okay? But you are an aunt. And this book can also be useful to anybody who works with children or comes into contact with children, because a lot of the approach is how to share information and communicate in a way that inspires the kids.
That's beautiful.
And that is so important, because sometimes we all got kind of tripped up on how to achieve the goal. And we get so passionate, we get lost in our delivery of the message, and we don't always deliver it in such a way that inspires.
Yeah.
And this book will teach you some ideas, show you some ideas, how to approach things so that the messaging is positive and inspires, and to help you achieve those goals, whatever it is, whether you're a parent, a teacher, a coach, what have you, an aunt, a grandparent, whatever your connection is
Yeah.
to the kid. Because we start with public relations from the moment we wake up, with ourselves and the way we talk to ourselves. And as soon as we have any interaction, your PR begins. Because at the core of it, what's public relations? It's communications and sharing
Yeah.
your messages in order to achieve a goal, whatever that goal may be, short,
Exactly.
medium, long term. And you can apply that to just about anything, not only in parenting, but also interpersonal relationships, career, and to life itself.
Yeah, exactly. It's about everything, and it's about how you approach life. And if you have a strategy that works and you proved it on yourself that it worked for you, then I'm all for sharing it with the world, because it will help others to see things in a different light that maybe they've never thought of before, and to approach it and learn from your experiences. It's amazing, I think.
I'll tell you a little secret, because this has not been announced yet. So I'm going to announce it with Gal on your show.
Yeah.
Okay. So in addition to the book, there's going to be, connected with anybody who buys the book, there's going to be a free workbook.
Okay.
So if you want to deep dive and really get into the exercises and have a place to practice and ask questions and have your questions answered, on the PR for Period Life website, which is where that download that in the promo you talked about, the party planning download, that's going to be the book portal. So in January, all this stuff is going to start to come alive. And then once the book becomes live in April, everyone will have access to both the book and the workbook. Let's get into the tachlis. Let's do tachlis, you know, from Hebrew. Let's get into the meat potatoes into it, get some work done, but fun work. Okay, this is fun. This is a way of thinking, getting into it, applying it to your own situation. So you'll have a little extra backup to be able to do your thing.
Amazing. I'm always on adding theory and practice, combining it together, because just learning the things doesn't make it actually work. We need to move the muscles, we need to do things in order to see changes. And it's good to get a lot of knowledge. And in today's world, I don't know about you, but I consume like audiobooks and podcasts and webinars, and I get like information from everywhere. But what makes the real difference, and this is what we also teach our clients, get the work done, move the needle, do the things, because otherwise you won't see any change. It's good that it's in your head, but once it's in your muscles, then you see the change. So I'm definitely sure that with your workbook, we get to see the progress, and we get to see how the strategies that you're showing them are actually working in place.
Yeah, they'll have a plan is the main point of it. And I think we all need to kind of have a plan. And then once you have these plans, then things become that much more natural.
Exactly.
And you just go, oh, I know what to do. I don't even have to think about it anymore, because I've already been there, seen it, and done it. At the core of it, Gal, it's not so much about the book or about the workbook, even though those things are important in terms of tools. These are part of a bigger picture movement, a PR parenting movement that I would like to create in order to help the next generation have an easier time at parenting. None of the kids come with instructions. There's no ultimate, parenting guidebook out there.
No.
We all just do the best that we can. We compare notes. So with my book, I'm giving you a page from my playbook. It worked for me. I hope it works for you. The workbook is to help you exercise it so that you have the plan and to have something in your hand and an action plan. But the movement is something that I hope will go on for generations to come. That I hope that it starts with me, but I hope it doesn't end with me. I
Yeah.
hope that my children and our children's children say, you know what? PR parenting. This is a new way to look at it. And let's teach the next generation and the next generation. And what's kind of cool is that with each generation, the abilities and the approaches improve. So I
Yeah.
hope that my kids are a better version of me. And I hope that their kids are going to be a better version of them with their exercising and
Yeah.
teaching of these same public relations strategies. So that's kind of what I'm going for. It's ultimately to pay it forward in the best of ways, starting with this initial tool of the power of PR parenting.
Yeah, parenting. I love it. So first of all, as I said earlier, I'm going to put the details in the comments so that if you're listening to us live or in the replay, you're going to be able to find it out and I'll get all the information. And if I have to go back to this expat real talk topic, so you're settled in Israel. Are you thinking of moving or you're there for good after so many years?
Oh my gosh, you sound like my mother. She's been asking me when I'm moving back permanently. I think since I moved. So here's the thing. Yeah. Well, I don't blame her. You know what? When our kids move abroad, or when we move abroad, we're very far away from our family. So anybody out there who's thinking about moving to another country, just keep that in mind. You know, we were talking about, expectations before.
Yeah.
I think we have to expect when we move to another country is for it to be exciting, but also for it to be hard because everything's different. And you're with new people, new cultures, new everything. And it's not going to be what you're used to. Eventually, you might get used to it. There's some things in Israel, I'll be completely honest with you, that I'm constantly surprised.
I'm sure of.
Still, I mean, I've been here for 28 years, and there's sometimes things happen, and I'm just like, yeah, okay.
I know.
Would I move back to the United States? I'd have to say that I still have
I
a
know
presence
exactly.
in the United States. I would have to say that I still have a presence in the United States. So I go back and forth quite a bit. But in terms of full-time not living in Israel anymore, I like living in Israel. Would I move someplace else if the wind blew me and it made sense? I am full of adventure. And for all those people out there thinking about moving to another country, now this is true expat talk here, okay? Quintessential. It's an adventure. If you're into exotic, adventure, different, trying out new things, then this will be totally for you. Just know that it comes with caveats of, finding yourself in situations that you're not expecting and they're not always comfortable, and you just kind of have to roll with it. So be prepared for that. But if your expectations are in line and you know that there's going to be challenges, then they're not such a big deal once you get to them.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's a big part of preparing yourself for the move because there is the logistic and technical bits of getting your visa and knowing where you're going to work and what. But if you prepare yourself mentally and emotionally to what it comes with, like as you said, the challenges are there, it's given. But if you approach it in a way that serves you better, then you will be able to enjoy the adventure even more and make it a life that you actually enjoy no matter where you are and for how long you are, because we never know. Like, I'm sure if I would have asked you 25 years ago, do you think you're going to stay 25 years in Israel? Not sure what your answer would have been.
I would say let's get through today and tomorrow, please. Now, a little bit of tip, and that's a couple of tips. First of all, take one day at a time in the beginning. Don't bite off big pieces, just little baby bites. Sometimes even 1 hour at a time, depending on how the day is going. And a really important tip is investigate and learn about the medical system before you get to that country, because every country has a different way of handling medical and how you get to your doctors and what to do in it doesn't have to be a crisis. Not everything is a crisis. But what if you come down with a cold? What if you have bronchitis? Like what my first week when I landed, literally, I got bronchitis.
Wow, that's
So
not a pleasant thing to have, no matter where you are.
But okay, here the joke was on me. I was moving to Jerusalem. I thought, oh, I'm going to the Middle East, and it's going to be warm. Yeah, right. January in Jerusalem. I moved to Jerusalem, not to Tel Aviv. Freezing, absolutely freezing. We're up in the mountains over here. And I ended up with bronchitis. And I thought, well, where do I go? Maybe I should get checked. Do I need antibiotics? Maybe, it's a bacterial thing, not a viral thing. So knowing how the medical system works, and if you can in advance, figuring out, what plan you're going to be part of and what doctors people recommend. So when you can take the guesswork out of that kind of a thing, and you know what you need to do, then it's not such a scary thing. For me, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So I was like, anybody with a medical degree, I'll come see you. I forget what this man gave me, but he said I had bronchitis. He gave me something, and it took like another, I don't know, like 4 weeks. It was like this horrific cough in the beginning. But anyway, to the point, what you can research in advance. Oops, there goes my earbud. What you can research in advance, you should. How much does food cost, so that you know how much to budget. If you can have an apartment in advance and know all the details connected to that. How much is electricity? How much is gas? How much is water? All the utilities. How far are you from wherever you need to go? How are you going to get there? Does it make better sense to buy a car, or is it better to just hop on the bus? There's so many different things for daily life. So whatever your daily life is now, ask yourself, write a list. What would I do to achieve the same goals on this list that I do right now in the country that I'm moving to? Dress code. In America, in the United States, everything was very formal going to work. Back in, I hate to say it, back in the 80s, I'm dating myself, but at least the music was good. And then I come to Israel, which is so casual. You can wear jeans to work over here. Look, I could even go to work in jeans and a sweatshirt if I really wanted to. Nobody would blink an eye, except what's the exception to the rule in terms of wardrobe abroad in Israel, the country of casual? Is if you have somebody visiting from abroad, then everybody puts on their suit.
That is someone putting a suit. Or if you're the CEO sometimes, depending on the company, will put a suit on.
So the CEO is usually in a pair of nice pants and some lovely top or dress shirt, depending on whether male or female. And they up their game as a general rule if there's somebody from abroad, or if they're going abroad. And it's even more upscale if they're visiting Europe.
True. So it's really
wardrobe.
Wardrobe. I agree with everything you said. And as a person that moved to different, so I lived in Israel, in Ireland, in UK, in France, visited the US and Canada enough time to see things differently. I would say that know as much as you need, because I will share with you a personal thing. I am a person that really need to know. If I know a lot, I'm calmer. But Maya and my sister, for example, the more she knows, the more stressed she is. She doesn't need to know. Like, if it's too much information, she gets too overwhelmed. So make sure you know enough based on what you need, the amount of information you need personally. You know yourself best. And I will add to that know yourself, your capabilities to deal with things. And you can know it based on what you're doing right now in your life, no matter where you live. If you're a person that is very adventurous and spontaneous, and you always find a way to sort things, you will be able to do that in another country as well. If you need to know strategically everything in advance, then you will be the same person somewhere else. So give yourself the credit that you can do this and you will figure it out. And don't stress yourself in advance because everyone tells you what you need to know or should be doing. Trust your gut. Trust that you will find how to, because you gave the example of medical care and it's a great one. A lot of people make sure you have your medical care set up before. But actually, your example showed that even if not, you will find it out. Like, it's not the end of the world, especially when moving in today. And unless you're moving into the jungle or somewhere like really where you will find yourself in a hard situation. But in most countries, people are moving from and to. You will find a way. You maybe have to pay a bit more in the beginning. You maybe have to give a couple of phone calls that you didn't thought, but you will be able to.
Yeah, of course you will. Look, the bottom line in terms of medical things, no matter what country you are, because I always seem to end up getting sick on the airplane. So I'm definitely a mask kind of girl now. But the pharmacy,
Yeah.
if in doubt, go to the pharmacist. They know the medication's the best of anyone anyway. They can make recommendations and they can give you the advice that you need. And in the meantime, until you actually get to a doctor who can write a prescription, they can help you out with something over the counter that you can substitute in the meantime.
Yeah.
So, to your point, you can't get to everything. And sometimes it's TMI, too much information, and you're just going to blow a fuse on it and go, I'm not doing this. It's just too much.
Too much.
You don't have to get, you don't have to get weighed down by the details. If they're useful to you and they make you feel better to know in advance what you're about to experience, then great. If you want to just kind of roll with it, that's okay too, because to your point, you'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
It's all good. And it's actually part of the experience too. Sometimes sometimes better not to know.
I agree. Sometimes it's really better not to know. But I think the important part of it is that you know yourself. You know your capabilities. You talked about PR, and that's why I loved it. Whatever you're doing in your life right now, you have amazing capabilities. Put them into good use, even for your new life abroad and for your upcoming move if you are still thinking about it. Make sure you use what you're good at, because you are, for sure, in many things.
I have to tell you, moving abroad was probably one of the best decisions I made in my life. It has been such an adventure, and it continues to be such an adventure. Every day there's something new. Moving to Israel specifically was also a very nice choice. If for no other reason, and you're going to laugh at this, but I love the time zone. It's my favorite time zone. We're smack in the middle of it all, between Europe. Yeah, we're 7 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time in the United States, 10 hours ahead of California time. We're 1 hour ahead of Europe, 2 hours ahead of the UK. And then if you need to work in the Far East, if you get up early enough in the morning, you can still get them before their workday's over. It's a fabulous, fabulous time zone. So when you asked me if I wanted to move back to the United States, well, yeah, there are lots of wonderful things that I miss about the United States, including family. But I prefer this time zone because I like to have everything under control before the folks in the United States wake up, frankly.
Oh, that's good. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I never thought of this one, to be honest. And I lived in Israel many years, but yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And for anybody who's thinking about moving abroad, think about the benefits to your new time zone. You might be able to work internationally with a company in the United States if that's where you're living, or if you're in Europe, what have you. Think about it, with your American counterparts or with your counterparts in the Far East, and think, okay, when they go to sleep, I can be working on it, and when they wake up, it's, I've already finished doing what I need to do for them.
Yeah.
So you've just turned the operation into a 24-hour operation, and you still got your 8 hours of sleep in between.
It's a great point. I love it. I never thought about it. So thank you for sharing this with me. We'll definitely share it on our Instagram soon. Think of your time
Oh,
zone.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's an international public relations way of looking at things.
Amazing.
I when I wake up in the morning and throughout the course of the day, whenever I look at the time, I never just see my local time. I see multiple time zones and go, okay, what or who can I service at this
At this time.
point in the day? Oh
That's,
no, they haven't woken up yet. Oh, that's good. I have another couple of hours to finish that thing off, or I can tweak it again, or what have you. So, time zones and how you look at time is really, really cool
yeah.
when you get to be an expat because the whole thing changes as you're moving around and to your
Yeah.
benefit.
Definitely. I really believe there's a lot of benefits of living abroad, but every person needs to find their own to fit them. So it's a beautiful time zone. It's a great one. I'll add it to the list.
Yeah, I like that. That's one of my favorite parts about being an expat and living in Israel is the time zone. I also happen to like the hospitality. Now, anybody who's thinking about moving abroad, hospitality in the Middle East is second to none. Tea time in Europe or in the UK, second to none. So there's benefits in terms of culture and cuisine and hospitality, depending on where you are in the world. I love that when I moved to Israel, I learned that whether you're walking into an office or you're walking into somebody's home, there's a full spread on the table within a matter of a half an hour. It just instantly comes out.
Yes,
It's
it's true, and I love the fact that like I grew up in Israel and I lived in Israel the past decade until I moved to France recently, and hospitality is a big thing in Israel. Like you come to a place and everyone is your friend in 1 minute. Now it's funny being European in a lot of ways. I was like, do I know you? Like, am I supposed to be that close to you right now? And
yeah.
like, oh no, it's part of how it's easier. I just need to recalibrate to how things are. How do we do things in Israel? But yeah, it's you need to understand the different ways of doing things and again like we started a conversation about it, be open to the fact that people do different things differently everywhere in the world.
Have you been to China?
Not yet.
Okay. China was so cool. I went there for the World Economic Forum years ago, and I'd never been there until that point. And what I learned, and I love this, is that they start with their cold dishes first, which means that dessert could be the first course.
Interesting. I love
Now,
dessert.
I like my sweets. So I was all for that. In fact, I'll skip dinner. I'll just go with the dessert tonight. But also for breakfast, they have dinner items like buns and meat and rice and things like that. Very hearty, start the day kind of food, which is also very nice. So I was really open to the culinary differences over there and really enjoyed myself. When I go to the United Kingdom, I love tea time. I just love tea time. I could do tea time every single day. Just fantastic. And a little tip for anybody who's moving to the UK, the British Museum has a wonderful tea time. So you get to do
True.
this cultural tour, right? And with good tour guides, and then you can have tea.
That's amazing. I see we have someone here that is listening to us that is she said she's Italian and lived in Scotland for many years. So do you have tea time in Scotland as well, or is it only UK British kind of thing? I think in Scotland as well you have some kind of tea time. She will answer us in a moment. But yeah, I lived in London for 3.5 years, and I love the fact that you move from tea time to the pub. It was like you finish your tea and you start having your beer. This is how it was for me for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
But
think that every country has its way of doing things. And to your point, again, from the very open of this discussion, as you're moving from country to country, just be open and roll with it and know that you're there on an adventure. If you have an adventurer's attitude, then everything, all the dust settles okay.
Exactly. Be open and try new things. Even if for you it sounds like, no, why? Like, why would I do that? It's so weird. But try new things and see, maybe you'll discover things that you've never thought you would like. And I see that she answered that tea time. Yes, she loves it. So Scotland tea time as well. Thank you so much for being here with me on this Real Expat Talk. I really had an amazing time listening to all your stories and your approach to parenting, but also to expat life. And you gave so amazing, like so many amazing tips for our listeners. So really, really thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. And if anybody would like to join the community, like you said, you're going to be posting the link. But ultimately, I just want everybody to know that this is a PR parenting community and a movement. And if we can help the next generation, those moms and anybody working with kids out there, happy to help in any way that we can. Look, friends, we're all in this together. So let's stick together, do it together, and pay it forward.
Amazing. So I'll put all the details in the comments so people can check you out and get all the information they need.
And the party planning thing. It's holidays. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah,
holidays.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And if anybody's planning a party, just to let you know, on the website right now, you can download a free guide. It's my top 10 PR pro tips for planning the perfect party. What does that mean? Whenever I plan an event over the last 30 years, whether it's for a world leader, my kids' bar mitzvahs, a birthday party, family events, trips, what have you. This is my thinking. These are the 10 things that I think about in order to achieve a successful event. I wanted you to have that as a free gift for the holidays to help you out. It's for now, but it's for a full year, whatever you do.
Amazing.
And get the kids involved. I have my daughter's planning her 18th birthday party. I said, honey, here's the list. Let me know when you finish going through the list, and then I'll look at it, and then we can execute together. Get the kids involved. So it's wonderful.
I'll put all the details. And for those who are listening to us, thank you so much. Please follow us on Smoozitive. If you're planning to move abroad, if you're moving abroad, join this is what we do here. We just share amazing stories. Thank you again. And I wish you Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, great New Year, everything that comes together. And I look forward to our next conversations.
With absolute pleasure. Season's greeting and loads of love.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.